Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce to you a great statesman. Please join me in a warm New York welcome to the man who so brilliantly led the country that is our best friend, former Prime Minister Tony Blair.
I'm so proud to have been asked to be here tonight. Please don't wait another 60 years before the next British Prime Minister turns up. I see Tim Russert here, who interviewed me once. And you may remember that just before the cameras were rolling in the interview, he said, "Do you want some tea or coffee?" And I'm afraid I said, rather rudely, "I don't think the Americans really do tea." To which he replied, "Well, we did leave rather a lot of it at the bottom of Boston Harbor." There was, of course, a debate about the language of America. And fortunately, you decided in the end that it should be English. And let me say, I think with a bit more practice, you'll do fine at it. That's what friends are for. Can I also say how privileged I was to sit next to Cardinal Egan at dinner and to say, Eminence, a word of congratulations in particular for the marvelous work that the Catholic Church does in educating the children in New York. I think you should be very proud of it indeed, sir. And if you don't mind me saying so, Eminence, since I don't often sit next to a cardinal, it's the only time I've ever worn white tie and felt underdressed. But anyway, incidentally, as you, I'm sure you know, Cherie, my wife, is Catholic. I was brought up in the Church of England, and of course we had a discussion after we were married, and our family was on the way, and you know, we were progressive people, cosmopolitan. So I sat down with her and I said, "Well, you know, let's be open-minded about this." And she said, "Yeah, I think we should be open-minded. We'll let you come to Mass." I also should say, I know I'm the second former British Prime Minister to have addressed this gathering. The last one was Winston Churchill, I think 60 years ago by telephone. Is that right? So, it's a particular honor. Sorry it took 60 years for one of us to turn up, but that's quick action for the British. Can I also say Mayor Mike Bloomberg, who I know well, and who seems to have a certain popularity here. Anyway, being a mayor of a great city like New York's a fantastic preparation. And Mike, I know someone said to me, "You're a very wealthy man," but then I did say to them, "But you've got it all in dollars." I think I'll probably have to leave this city after making the speech. I said straight after September the 11th, 2001, that this was not an attack on America, but on all of us. That Britain's duty was to be shoulder to shoulder with you in confronting it. I meant it then, and I believe it now. Ultimately, you only defeat an ideology with another, greater, better, more powerful idea. And our idea is the way of life that we have and the shared values that underpin it. We believe in that way of life. But Al Smith taught us something important about it. That it wasn't only about liberty, it was also about justice. He saw in the New York slums of the early 20th century lives blighted not by the absence of liberty, but by the presence of squalor and poverty and disease. Lives without hope, without ambition, and therefore without a stake in the liberty he loved. He was the son of an immigrant. He knew what it was to be an outsider trying to get on the inside. He knew bigotry firsthand, experienced its savagery, felt its effects on himself and his family, yet never once gave in to it and never ceased to rail against it. His character made him profoundly meritocratic, willing to look beyond the color, class, or creed of a person and value them as they truly were. He saw this as the essence of what it meant to be American, and in doing so came to exemplify the spirit and soul of this great country. These values are not our property, they are our gift to the world. One thing, however, we have learnt together, and that is courage in the face of challenge. And that courage in the face of challenge is in many ways the reason for these dinners over the past 6 decades in memory of Al Smith. And what this teaches us, above all else, is that despite all the challenges of the world, there are always grounds for optimism. And whilst our two great countries work together, I do feel optimistic. I feel optimistic about our values. I feel optimistic about their ability to help us make progress. I feel optimistic about the future in which my children will grow up. They will have their challenges too, but if they have just a little of the spirit that motivated Governor Al Smith from his humble beginnings through to the great things he did in life, then I believe they will do well and make me as their father proud. So thank you all for the honor you've given me this evening. Thank you for your kindness and your generosity. And most of all, good fortune follow you in all that you do. Thank you.